All right. So it looks like we are live. What's going on, everybody? And when I say everybody, I mean just me because I'm here by myself. But welcome. I'm going to be making some vegetable broth, some mushroom veg broth today. So I thought I would share that with y'all. Just going to adjust my equipment there real quick. All right. So I got two white messaged apparel items on right now, but that's cool. All right, so today we're making vegetable broth. Let me close it. I don't know. You didn't see that. All right. Oh, that is not very straight. Okay, so welcome to my kitchen. Gonna be making some vegetable broth today. I've got my handy dandy cutting board right here. I've got my Instant Pot that I'm going to be using for my vegetable broth. The Instant Pot is my preferred method of making vegetable broth. You can basically make broth in like 30 minutes with the Instant Pot, so that's what I usually use. I also like the stainless steel one. I bought a Ninja like pressure cooker air fryer. So I have one of those too, but I didn't realize it has a non-stick coating on the thing. So I'm like, oh man, that kind of sucks if you're making broth and you don't want like chemicals and stuff in there. So the Instant Pot one with the stainless steel is the one that I prefer to use. So that's what we're going to use today. And very simple vegetable broth recipe. This one we're doing without salt. If you want to add salt, you can. I usually add salt later when I'm using the broth to make soup or whatever else I'm making. What do I usually use? I usually use it to make soup. Sometimes like vegetable pot pie. I feel like there's something else I use it for pretty often, but I can't think of it. I do make soup a lot, but soup, congee, I guess pho is soup, so I guess that's counts as soup. Enchilada sauce. Yeah, I feel like there's something else, but I can't really think of it. Gravy. I don't really make gravy that much. Here I am, just not even making broth. I'm just sitting here talking to myself. All right, so we are gonna make our vegetable broth. We're gonna make mushroom vegetable broth. We've got some very simple ingredients. I'm gonna prepare these right now. So we've got onion and some celery and carrot and jalapeno. I'm gonna add some ginger. All right, so we got a ginger. I'm gonna rinse this real quick. But yeah, it's Sunday. I like to make, kind of prepare stuff on Sunday. So we're doing our vegetable broth right now. So I'm going to start with this onion. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Instant Pot. So the Instant Pot has a bunch of settings. If you hit the saute setting, it's going to get too hot. Pretty much all of these settings are too hot except for slow cook, which is a little bit too, like, not hot enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit manual, and then it's on low pressure. You can basically want to turn it on manual in the lowest pressure you possibly can. So we're going to do that. I've got my onion right here. I think I already rinsed this, but I'm going to rinse it again. All right, and then the onion, we're just going to chop the bottom and the top off of the onion. Mainly chopping the bottom off because there can be like dirt and stuff in there. We don't want that in our broth. The top, sometimes there can be mold in there, so we don't want that in our broth either. So we're gonna chop those off. We're gonna cut the onion in half. And then we're just gonna split this guy. We're gonna take off the skin, the outer layer. Basically, you will just want to make sure there's no mold in there. If you leave the skin on, it's like not a big deal. Assuming that there's no mold in there, you just want to make sure there's not mold. So we're gonna take the skin off. It's not gonna really affect the flavor. Like this one, there's not mold under there, so if we left it on, it'd be fine. However, just to be safe, we're gonna take the skin off and just toss that in the compost. And then our Instant Pot is on already. We're gonna do this without oil. If you want to add a little bit of oil, you can. It just will add some fat to your broth, which is gonna kind of enhance the flavor. I'm just gonna keep it oil free, so I'm just gonna put the onions straight into the Instant Pot. So we're just gonna finish peeling this guy. All right, and then this, we're just gonna stick straight in here. Let y'all see this. So just straight on there. We've got it on. It's gonna heat up and it'll start sizzling in a second. But we're just gonna prepare our other ingredients while that's heating up. As you can already hear it, it's going. All right. So we're just gonna peel this. Now the ginger is going to enhance the flavor, but I mainly like to add it for like the health benefits. I don't think it really affects the flavor of the broth too much. So if you're using the broth in something that you're not adding ginger to, it's not really going to make it taste too gingery. But it is just kind of going to enhance the flavor overall. And I don't really use the peel of the ginger. I just kind of chop that off and discard it. This is organic ginger. All these vegetables are organic, but I have heard that ginger is sometimes sprayed with a growth inhibitor, so it doesn't sprout. This one is actually sprouting, so I'm pretty sure this one was not sprayed with that. But you never know. Just to be careful. I just toss the skin. So we're gonna peel the carrot too. So we just got like 3 medium, kind of smallish carrots that are going in here. And these you just want to peel. One, the peel is going to be a little bit bitter, but 2, peeling it just exposes all this surface area. And then you just want to kind of chop it a couple times just to kind of expose more of that. And that is basically going to allow the vegetable to release all of its lovely goodness. You can stick that in there. I usually do the onions first and then the carrots and the celery next. And you can just let it cook. The onion's going to brown a bit in the Instant Pot. Which is fine. It's just going to add flavor. You don't want it to like super burn, and you don't want the garlic to burn, so we're going to wait on the garlic. But we're just going to peel the carrots. And then these will go in there. So this one's like pretty small. Since we got small carrots, I'm going to do 3. You got big carrots, you could do just a couple of them. If it's like a huge carrot, you can just do 1. If you eat one of those like ginormous ones. These are pretty small, so we're going to do 3. And then one other thing that you can use in place of these carrots is if you juice carrots, you can use the carrot pulp. You can also use the celery pulp. The one thing I'll say with that is you don't want to use like random juice pulp. If like a lot of times I'll juice celery, so I'll use just celery pulp. And that, doesn't get weird. If you're using like juice from a bunch of different vegetables and or fruits, it just like can get pretty weird, and then your broth will taste like compost, which is really just no bueno. So we got our carrots in there. We're getting our celery in there now. So that's going to get in there. Just chop that up. Again, celery is something that I'll use the pulp from juicing celery, just because I juice celery a lot. Anyone, if you follow medical medium and you juice celery, making vegetable broth with the pulp is a good way to use all of that pulp. Because if you follow medical medium and you juice celery, you probably have a ton of celery pulp. All right, so we've got parsley next. So we're just gonna cut the top off of the parsley. We're just gonna cut like the top half of it. We don't want all the stem because the stem, this is gonna make it bitter. But just a little handful of parsley goes in there. We've also got some thyme. And so this is fresh thyme. It actually kind of dried out, but it's totally fine. You just want to make sure if it dries that it's not moldy. And so I've got just a few sprigs of thyme that are going to go straight in here. I just rinse these real quick. And then bay leaves. So these are like straight off the tree, but we're just going to throw like 2 or 3 bay leaves in there. Bay leaves just give a really nice kind of savory flavor. Kind of like thyme and coriander. It's just like a nice background savory flavor. All right, we've got our apple. So I'm going to do an apple. This is a very small apple, so we are just going to do a little bit. We could do the whole apple. It's just going to add a little bit of sweetness. And it's just something I like to add to the broth, especially if you have a lot of ingredients that can be a little bitter, like parsley. I'm not adding lemon to this, but just, parsley and then like celery. We're not adding the pulp, so this one's probably not going to be bitter actually. But yeah, just a little bit of sweetness just really kind of balances out the broth. And just like, I don't know, sometimes vegetable broth can be not like acidic, but just like a little bit, just like too vegetal and like a little bit bitter, I guess. So the apple kind of balances that out. And then we're also adding quite a bit of mushroom to it, which we can add more. So we just got some shiitake mushrooms that we're going to add to this. I'm just going to chop these up and just throw these right in. I am going to mix everything in the pot, and I can show you all that. But yeah, we're going to mix everything. You see the onions kind of are getting some nice browning on there. And that's just going to add some nice flavor. So you really want all the vegetables to do that, kind of the carrots, the celery, the ginger, and then the mushrooms also. You really want these to get a little bit of browning on there. So we're going to toss these in there. Y'all can see inside. So yeah, this is what everything looks like. Just going to kind of mix it. The only thing we haven't added in here that is kind of a crucial ingredient is the garlic. And obviously, if you're garlic free, you can just omit that. But to do the garlic, kind of like the onion, you just want to make sure we're not going to put this bottom part in there. So we're just going to cut that guy off. Can't see this. Clean out my cutting board. Compost. But yeah, we're just going to cut this guy off just because the bottom can have some dirt in it and it might have some mold. So we just want to cut that off. All right, now we got the bottom off. We're going to cut it in half. So cut the whole bulb in half. You really want to expose all of those cloves. If they fall out, just throw them in there. And then we're going to put this in the pot directly kind of on the bottom, just so the garlic gets a little bit cooked. You don't want to burn the garlic, but you just want to add a little bit of that cooked garlic flavor. And then this is our jalapeno. So I'm just gonna slice the sides off of this. I used part of this yesterday in a salad. And I'm just gonna use the rest of it just because I've got it in my fridge. And it's just gonna add a little bit of extra flavor and really gonna kind of balance out and round out the flavor. So I'm not adding the pith and the seeds in the middle. We're just gonna kind of toss this in the compost. We're just gonna add the sides of it. There's a little bit of the pith, but it's not really gonna make it too spicy. So we're just gonna leave that on there. And then there goes my apple. It's all gonna go in there. Gonna try to press this down and the garlic down and just like get a little bit of browning on there. But that's basically all of our vegetable and mushroom ingredients. The only other thing we're gonna add is some seasoning. So I've got some coriander, onion powder, and garlic powder. We're just gonna go ahead and stick that right in there. If you don't have like sprigs of thyme, like now is when you want to add some thyme. To me, coriander and thyme are just like great background savory flavors, so I put them in pretty much everything. I definitely like to have them in vegetable broth. You can use whole coriander seeds if you want, or ground coriander. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, we've got all of that in there. The last ingredient that I'm going to add to this is chaga mushroom powder. And I've actually got two kinds of mushroom powder. So this is chaga mushroom powder, which is a superfood mushroom. Really good for reducing inflammation, and then apparently super nutritious as well. So there's a bunch of health benefits associated with chaga. It's also really good for your brain. As well as these other superfood mushrooms. So yeah, like lion mane, chaga, cordyceps, reishi, turkey tail, shiitake, maitake. These add really great mushroom flavor, and then they also add just like a bunch of great like antioxidants and like brain boosting health benefits to the broth. So I'm basically going to add about a tablespoon of each of these. Not really going to measure, just going to kind of sprinkle that in there. This will make the broth like pretty dark. And so you don't want to go too crazy with this, but a couple of tablespoons will really add a lot of, just incredible health benefits. And yeah, it's, I know like a lot of these mushrooms, like turkey tail, and cordyceps are like associated with just like great brain health and are apparently really good for treating depression and anxiety and stuff. So yeah, just adding these I think is just an awesome way to add super great nutrition to your broth. And kind of to me makes it more similar to like bone broth or something, where it's like you're really fortifying your body with like a bunch of great nutrients. So we've got all of that in there. Now we're just going to add our water. All right. Pardon me, I didn't grab the water beforehand. All right, so I've got filtered water. I like these zero water filters. They filter out all the chlorine, and they're supposed to filter out fluoride too. So that's why I like it. So we're just gonna add that. I'm gonna move this over so y'all can see right in here. All right. broth. All right, so yeah, we're making broth. Here's inside the pot. So we're gonna add our water now. All right. All right, and then so I'm gonna change the setting. I have this on just on manual on kind of the lowest setting so it doesn't burn. I'm gonna switch it to soup. So I can switch this around. So here's our beautiful broth. And again, we've got our chaga mushroom powder in there. So I just hit this to the soup setting. We're gonna finish adding our water. All right. So our broth. It's one little funny note about the Instant Pot is this little like um, measuring gauge, like how much cups in here, is completely inaccurate. So I think I've probably added already like 12 cups of water in here, and there's also a bunch of vegetables in here, and it's like showing that there's 10 cups. So just a kind of funny thing about the Instant Pot, it's like very inaccurate. This little measure on there. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more water. Zero water. Similar to the one we had at the cafe. All right. Yeah, we're just gonna add the rest of our water. And so this just needs to come up to temperature and start boiling, and then we're just gonna put the top on it. So here's something that I didn't know about the Instant Pot for years. So I was using this literally for years, and I had no idea that you could stick the top right here, and it holds the thing. And I'm like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, why else would these things be shaped like this? But I think I learned that like 2 years ago. So it's kind of funny. Because I've been using the Instant Pot for like 10 years or however long. But yeah, that's the broth. So if I make it at home, it's super easy. Just chop up an onion, a few carrots, a few stalks of celery, and put them in an Instant Pot. You can also do it on the stove. Oops. This guy. All right. So yeah, here's our Instant Pot. And this, yeah, you're just gonna put the top on. We've already got it on the soup setting, so it's just gonna come to temperature. And then the last thing, you just wanna make sure that this little, this guy is set to sealing and not venting. If you are doing this and like leaving the house or something, you just wanna make sure that you set it to sealing first before you leave, because if you have it on venting and then you leave and then it comes to temperature, it's literally just going to spray steam like all over your house for however long it takes for you to get home. So yeah, that's just one kind of important thing. But it's just needs to cook for like 30 minutes. So once it comes to pressure, I mean, really, you could do it less time than that, but I think 30 minutes is enough to really get everything out of the vegetables. So just sit it on the soup setting and then cook it for like 30 minutes. So that's it. That was basically just what I wanted to show you. And yeah, I was also just happy to kind of test out going live. So thank you for joining me if you check this out. And yeah, let me know what you think. If you want the recipe for the veg broth, I'm going to post it on my website. So chefbrandonrouge.com, and then I'll put it in the description of the video once I get it posted. So thanks for joining me. I hope you all join me again soon. Thanks.